This is an argument I'm starting to make, and it applies to Islam as much as it applies to Marxism and communism. This is the argument. The First Amendment protects your ability, your freedom to believe anything, but not to actually advance anything. So in 1954, Congress passed the Communism Control Act, and it banned the organization and advancement of the Communist Party. Why is that? Well, it's because communism is openly the form of espionage and sedition. It is seditious against the constitutional order of the United States. That's just a fact. So that's why they banned it. I would argue that the inevitable outcome of Sharia law and the Islamic project that is infiltrating our country very openly right now is equally seditious. And so you can believe and practice any religious faith you want, but Islam fundamentally is not a religion. It's a religiously draped political ideology that seeks to conquer all other factions and all other nations and submit it, which is the meaning of the word Islam, to that theocratic power. It is absolutely totalitarian, as communism is as well. So we reject totalitarianism in this country, and we actually ban the practice of communism. And I think we should have a similar approach to the organized advancement of Sharia law-driven Islam. Now, the other thing I want to say about your question, what do we do about where we're at, these people that are born and bred here? Many of them are first-generation immigrants, and we need to re-examine and be very aggressive about denaturalizing and deporting those people who clearly did not assimilate and clearly do not actually have allegiance to the Constitution. That's it. It's not a purity test, a litmus test, or a religious test, but the oath of allegiance, which any immigrant signed their name to when they were given citizenship, and which I believe every natural-born citizen should be held to the same standard, because we don't have two classes of citizens in America. If you are an American citizen, properly and legally speaking, you are an American citizen, period. There's no second class tier, or there should not be. Therefore, that oath of allegiance that the immigrants sign should apply to everyone. It's a very simple, basically one-paragraph statement that says, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And yet, Ilhan Omar is not supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States of America. She's openly subverting it. You could probably make the similar argument for AOC, but, one step at a time. So I think we should be very honest, we should be very bold and fearless, and we should be very disciplined about defining what it means to support and defend the constitutional order, and be realistic about the dangers when we allow anti-American thought and actions to start growing within our own borders.
But what do you want to do about it? Like, do you want to make legislation that, I understand the last one you said we got to deport them, okay. But what about the ideology, the people that believe in Islam or believe in Marxism? What do you want to do about that? What do you want to do about the people that hate the government and want to make change, right? Like, what is the congressional motion you're going to do?
So I'm proposing the 2020 Sovereignty Act. That's 20 years of zero immigration, 20 million deportations accelerated over 4 years. So we need a great acceleration to the deportations, which largely is very simple to achieve with debanking illegal aliens, so they'll deport themselves safely and much less expensively for the taxpayer, enforcing E-Verify, other functional measures that are very simple policy if you just have political willpower to pass them. So we need to really be serious about the promise that was made that we will deport people that were improperly imported to the point of being an invasion and have not at all assimilated. So I'm not anti-immigration, I'm anti-invasion. We've been invaded, and we have to deal with it. It's going to take some time. On this note, Kim, people don't actually realize mostly that we had not a 20-year, but a 40-year moratorium on immigration already in this country from 1924 to 1964. And people have no idea that during that period, income for black families skyrocketed over 300%. Income for white families grew over 100%. So the American middle class flourished, and the minority poverty gap was closing. These are things that everyone, left and right, should generally say, yeah, that would be a good thing. And it happened.
Okay, but
it can happen again.
But let's say you do all of that, fine. Then I don't think that's going to make a dent. I mean, I understand this argument's being made, but I don't agree with it, that the Marxism ideology or the people that hate the government, I think the vast majority of them are American-born people who are multi-generational American, have been here for a really long time. In fact, many conservatives will say it's the white liberal lady. Well, she's like 10th, millionth generation American, right? Her parents came from the freaking Mayflower. So what are you going to, so I don't think it eradicates, I don't think that solves the problem you're talking about, basically. Like getting rid of all the immigrants, all the illegals. I don't think that's going to solve the other problems.
So I'll agree and disagree. I'll agree with an element of what you're saying. I would still say that my proposal for 2020 Sovereignty Act is incredibly important and very helpful to the issues we're discussing, but it's not the only thing. So in addition to that, the locking down the invasion, preventing continued invasion of antithetical ideologies and non-assimilated cultures. Along with that, we also need to examine and repair our own internal culture, as you just suggested. So I completely agree with that. And the solution to that is simply summed up in this phrase: reject government schools. Just reject it. The government never should have been the entity responsible for conducting education. And the government is terrible at anything that is not its narrowly defined lane to be responsible for. If the government's doing anything that it is not explicitly enumerated in the Constitution to be doing, it does a terrible job. So even at the state level, I don't think state governments should be in charge of conducting education. I think that should be handled primarily by parents in concert with free market-driven solutions and support systems at the small community groups, private enterprise, private schools. But all of what you're saying, which I completely agree with you on, is that we can't exactly legislate out the Marxism that's been breeding in our country and in our culture for decades. But it's poison, and it's going to destroy us. So we have to be clear-eyed and unified with this as a society. And politically speaking, I think the divestiture of the federal government and governments overall to give more local control and to reject government schools culturally, to say we need to really invest and support the nuclear family with parents taking responsibility for their kids. Or I would advocate for moms largely wanting to nurture and raise their children. I think that's the biological model. No, that doesn't mean women can't have careers or be in various positions. That's fine. We have a system that allows for that. But we should be returning to a core belief and ethic and a value system that reveres and protects the natural nuclear family and allows it to flourish. And there's ways to do that with incentive within policy, and there's ways to do that within resetting how we raise families and educate children and teach them what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
The real reason that Viagra stops working for many men as they age, and what works then. As you get older, your body needs help with more than just blood flow. Your arousal signal.
Hey guys, I'm about to hit something, and this one's about to be a little bit deeper than what I normally hit. And I'm using Alex Jones because I know Alex really don't care, and Alex kind of wants this kind of information out there. What we're dealing with in America as it pertains to these wars is a provoking spirit, and I'm going to show you the spirit of provocation that attacked our president of the United States of America. Now there's going to be people who argue that Netanyahu didn't influence Trump, but this is evidence Netanyahu's bragging about him influencing Trump with the Iranian war. And I'm going to show you even more provocations. But the provoking spirit, guys, is one that it can provoke a lot of things, but one of the things that the provoking spirit provokes is war in military campaigns. Everybody on the internet is like, oh, beware for the provoking spirits. And I'm not, there's no people hitting the nail on the head, majority of them. But when you go to a higher level of spiritual warfare for the nations, this provoking spirit attack nations. They provoke nations to make war with each other, right? Now, there will be people who say that, this war is the Lord's war and God wanted to attack them. And I even told you guys back then when this started, I laid out the scope of that warfare, which was God said he would break the bows of Elam. And I said, hey, man, back then I said, man, Donald Trump has got to be careful because there's a scope in which the Lord wants this done in, and it's biblical. So I went back to the Bible and showed the scope. You can go find the videos, da-da-da-da-da. And when you get outside of that scope is where the problem comes in. And with this war, we've gotten far outside of the scope to the point to where it's obvious that part of this is manipulation. We get into the NDAA with the merging of our militaries. you can't sit there and tell me that the Lord wants this nation, which is in covenant with Him, to have a merged military with a nation that don't believe in Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. It just that ain't. You can't convince me of that, right? And so let's talk about the provoking spirit, but I want you to hear the provocations and see the provocations first, and then I'll show you this in the Bible. Watch.
I want to see.
I'm gonna see that in a second.
Been speaking now.
Yo,
What up, bro?
chillin'. What's going on with you?
Yeah. It's a good Friday. I'm doing good, and everything's going good. And I was calling you at 5:40. That's the time I call every day. It's like 154. What you been doing?
Nothing yet. About to do the DoorDash right now.
DoorDash yet?
About to do it right now. Let's see.
Oh,
So I'm just getting
so
everything
you at
squared.
the house?
Nah. I'm at a store I'm in Atlanta. Where I get the drinks. I buy drinks at the store so I can give them out. So
That's a
where I'm
blessing.
at.
I know they enjoy them drinks.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what's up. Might not be too many today because it's raining. Might not see
I can
many.
probably tell.
Okay, what's up?
So I got $198 on the phone,
Dope,
so I can call. I got phone down.
dope.
So
Yeah.
I called Carter a few times already today. Talked to him. He got a lot going on. So I you know, let him do his thing. But I'm sure I don't give him away or anything. It's all good. But yeah, he said call him while he's work. And that's what I do. And I'm can feel it now that I'm getting out. I can feel it. So it's really great. And skateboard's
What
out
else,
here with me
skateboard?
on the smoke yard. What else, skateboard? You want to know? Yeah. It's pretty Right?
Yeah, I'm good.
He says you alright?
Yeah, I'm
He
good.
says good. He did. You got it? Yeah, we good that I'm getting out.
Logging out.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Yeah. And we're out on the smoke yard. They put the gas today for like little pieces of gas on the smoke yard. It's pretty cool. I'm about to go to the rack and get a lot of coffee. Shit. It's loud and on. The TV's all loud. Yeah, tell about it because I haven't called you.
Okay, let's go. Okay, here. I've arrived. What else?
I'm back out on the smoke yard. Chilling. Getting that free will oxygen.
Yeah, buddy. Let's see.
big ass storm coming this week. So that's gonna be good.
Dang.
Yeah.
This guy just blew through this intersection.
Say what?
This guy just went flying through this intersection.
I flew through the intersection. Yeah. Dang. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, that guy wasn't careful at all. He was getting it.
Yeah, and we're just chilling. And I finally found my journal. I've been looking for my journal for a week because they cleaned my bed and they made it up. I didn't know where they put everything. And I found my journal, so I'm gonna write this in there. And I remember that I'm not gonna write a song. Because I wait till I get out and I can write it.
Right.
I don't know. But the FBI is probably on the phone though.
FBI! I had something I wanted to tell him. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, I was gonna ask him about the what's it called? Bob cameras. Okay.
It's all good. I'm moving chilling.
Okay, ready?
Hey, Cat. Cat. That's my bunkmate, Cat. Yeah.
1 minute remaining.
1 minute remaining. I can call you back?
Yeah, hit me back.
Alright, I will.
Love you. God bless you.
God bless you.
Peace. Thanks. God bless you too. Peace.
אני הלכתי לראות את טראמפ מיד אחרי...
After he was elected,
ועם
and I came there with 7
7
slides, each one of them this big,
כל שקף כזה גדול.
because they don't allow
לא מכניסים
they don't allow USB drive.
שום
They don't allow any electronic devices.
החדר הזה...
The Oval Office. That's the president's office.
זה באתי, שקף
So I brought slides, 1 slide,
שקף אחד, שקף שני,
second slide, third slide,
שקף רביעי.
4th slide.
הנה
Here's what we're gonna do.
מה שאנחנו הולכים לעשות. לא, האם אתה...
Do you allow us or not? It was more like,
לא משהו. הנה
here's what we're gonna
מה
do.
שאנחנו הולכים לעשות. סופר לך.
I'll inform you.
ובשלב
we'll get
האחרון,
this last slide.
הנה מה שאני
And I say,
מציע לך.
here's what I'm proposing. You have the B-2 bomber.
2, אתם מפציצים מענקים.
These massive bombers.
יש מעטה.
There's a site called Fordo.
פורדו.
We need to,
אם נצטרך נפעל גם...
We like ourselves.
אבל זה הרבה...
but it'll be far more effective if
אם אתה תבוא ופשוט
you
תשמיע
come in and simply dropped your
את הפצצות הכבדות שלך.
heavy bombs there. He listened. He didn't give an answer.
לא ניתן תשובה.
He said, okay, I'll consider it.
שקל,
Consider. In the end,
בסוף הצטרף.
he joined, and I was very happy.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable.
And yet, he just said this twice on TV 2 weeks ago, and now he said it again last night. Netanyahu reveals how he convinced Trump to bomb Iran. It wasn't, do you allow us or not? It was, here's what we're going to do. I'm informing you. Says he brought 7 slides in the Oval Office and pitched the U.S. on using B-2 bombers to strike Iran. Fordo nuclear site. And then he brags again, he got us into the new war of 146 days ago by saying we're striking, and they did strike on the 28th. We struck hours later in the morning of the 1st of March. Beware the Ides of March. And he bragged about that. And Rubio came out and said, well, we had to because Israel, attacked, and our bases were going to get attacked.
Okay, why did nobody teach me that when you get a credit card, you're actually not supposed to spend the entire balance? When I got a card with a $2,000 credit limit, I thought I was actually supposed to use it for $1,000.
Turns out nothing anybody said.
To get attacked. And then Trump said, that's not true. I'm in charge. Which wasn't true. Netanyahu is on record. So, and it's like Trump saying, oh, the strait's open when it's not. Or, oh, we shouldn't have any tolls. I'm putting $2 billion in it. But he can't control it, so okay, now no tolls. Back and forth tolls on the strait. And then Trump's doing tolls. It's a disaster. So here is a Netanyahu, and that dovetails into Trump, talking about how he's going to, obliterate and all the rest of it. Here it is.
All right, so the frustration people say
called
Donald
money.
Trump is with the globalists and this.
Money.
That can be your opinion, and I can say this presidential term, you got an argument for it. Sorry, there's a full-blown argument for it based upon what we've seen. But I want to hearken you guys back to the process that we went through with the President of America. If you recall what James Williams said, I said, upon the rededication of this nation, before we did the rededication, I said, man, once we rededicate this nation, it's going to be on and popping. It's going down. Because the throne of power over this nation has automatically changed. I said, now once that throne changes, every spirit's got to come in and try and regain that throne.
They didn't do it to
And you
Jesus.
regain the
They
throne
didn't
by
do it to
talking
the
to person
Father.
who sits on the
They did it
highest
to
altar
a
in the
God,
nation,
and his name
which
is Satan.
The office of president of the United States is an altar. The nation itself is an altar unto God. That's what the 1607 prayer was when founding fathers, all of the pioneers that landed here, when they dedicated this land to the Lord. The land became an altar. Then when you had people like George Washington praying in Congress and Senate and the White House,
he was
they
praying to
created an
Satan.
altar
He's
to
a
God.
Satanist.
So this
George
is a
Washington
battle of
is a
altars.
Satanist.
And this is not only just spiritual warfare, it's the highest
Come on,
level
bro.
of spiritual warfare there is.
Playing with yourself.
So when I look at Alex's face and I look at that expression where he's like, man, I'm disappointed. This part of my life, this shit is getting out of control. When you see people kind of losing it, and it doesn't make sense. It's like 1 minute he says this, the next minute he says this. 1 minute is because there's a spirit there that's a spirit of provocation. And a provoking spirit provokes you to do something. Period. Now, there'll be people who'll be like, I don't like Alex, he sold the president out. I don't like this person. Understand that you have even been provoked. You don't know that man. All you know is what that man says. And this is not me defending Alex, I'm using him as an example. I've been on the show, but I don't know him. It's not like I sit at his dinner table and have drinks with him and hang out with him. So I don't know him. I see him, but I don't know him. So I don't know enough about him to have an expectation that would allow me to be brought into a
all
case
these
with
guys,
him.
they kiss each other's butts and get on each other's shows. But I ain't never gonna be able to get on none of their shows, is what I've noticed. Because I'm telling James right now, James, America is a Masonic nation.
Upset and angry and blah, 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 blah. All right.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
upset. I'm angry.
someone who pushes back and says,
Because you try and pretend like this is a Christian nation. That's ridiculous.
provocation from this provoking spirit.
George Washington was a Mason. Thomas, all of them, they're all Masons, bro. You're a Mason?
It's an inside job. Because you know that. You know it. But for the average person who didn't know, I didn't know 9/11 was an inside job when it happened. Guess what we saw all over the street? People with
I did
American
not
flags
know.
on their cars, da-da-da-da-da-da.
See,
But it
and
provoked
that's
people
why, bro.
to support a war. So a false flag is at the hands of a provoking spirit. Everybody talk about false flag. No, it's a provocation. That is something that's arranged in the realm of the spirit. And what the thing that gets me is, I'm kind of losing, but let me slow down. Prior to the rededication of this nation, the biggest issue was the Epstein files. That divisive issue, which stopped a lot of people from praying for the president of the United States. Now, it was his decision. Let's keep it real. And that's why back then I was saying, hey, the president got to make his decisions and he's going to pay the consequences for it. But the Epstein file issue, which we know now was revealed by Steve Bannon, which was revealed by Jeffrey Epstein himself, that Epstein issue became such a divisive issue and brought so much offense that I'm just going to tell you, there were people who just stopped praying for the president. The president is not, you can tell the president is not a man that's like, he's not a Christian.
He is not. Y'all got hoodwinked. Chilling.
I'm gonna do prayer call tonight. Last night I read, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And that was cool. I like that one.
23.
Psalm 23. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing it. Everybody's been doing that one recently. It's blowing up.
Yeah.
Psalms 91 is the other one. That's what you should do tonight. Psalms 91.
91.
Yeah. Those are the two that we use for deliverance. So when people are they want to get the demons out of them, when they want them out, that's what we tell them. We read that.
I like Psalm 5. For their mouth is an open tomb. Their work is empty, and then I like Psalm 1. The way of the wicked will perish. And the same in Psalms 112. So I like it. I found my journal though. I was telling you about my journal. I found my journal. I got a bunch in there. I wrote a whole journal at the Citizen and here, and it's like a whole notebook full of journal.
Right on.
I got it. And I threw away my letter to the president, so I lost pieces of it and did it record. So I rented a skateboard now. It's cool. I still got a beard. It's not a big beard, it's a little beard. I got a little beard, and I just keep ducking the haircut people. And I made it so far. So we're just chilling, trying to get by to Tuesday. And I'm kind of tripping a little bit about why they won't let me spend money on the store. Like $75 is not that much. And it's for the whole week. You know?
Yeah.
They bought me 2 cars. A 2006 Monte Carlo, I totaled it, and 2008 Nissan. And then we got behind on the payment. And then I took it to the Nissan place and parked. And the Nissan guy didn't know it was there. And then he finally found it. And I was like, okay. And then those repo people came and they were like, well, can you show us where the car's at? And I was like, yeah, I'll go with you and show you where the car's at. But then I talked to this guy. They said, do not get in the car with anybody like that. Don't do that. And I was like, okay. I was like, no, I can't go with y'all. And, you know, I was going to say, but it was in Peachtree City. They came to Peachtree City House, the condo. I remember that condo. I like that condo. And I remember when it was tagged. I don't know. I think we painted over it. But when the attic was tagged, y'all had spray painted the attic. It was cool. What's going on with all that? What's going on with all that? It's hard to ride. Yeah, me and Jones went to the beach one time, and we were on the beach, and he was teaching me how to do the funnel thing, and we were doing the funnel thing, and Bryce was eating sand, and he was like, I was like, don't eat the sand. He was like, let me eat it, he'll figure it out, and or something like that. I don't know exactly what he said. But he ate it and he grabbed the sand so it goes through your body. I thought that he had sand in it. That was crazy. We just grabbed some eat. And then what Bryce used to do to Barney, when Barney would come on, he would he would take his dookie and throw it at the TV. Well, so bad.
Yo, David, ten compasión por nosotros. Okay, hold on, let's get this done. Okay, what did I say?
4,200 Israelis storm Al Hamas, led by Ben Gvir. And as usual, they beat people up. Ben Gvir was on TV over the weekend showing a execution chamber saying we're going to kill our enemies in here. And then now he gave a tour. There's a TV program of the new torture prison base they built. They put a moat around it, and they are importing crocodiles to eat people, overhead shot police. And he's giving people a tour of his crocodiles. I mean, this is super villain cartoon stuff, okay? Now, what is all this? This is provocation. Period. Storming the mosque, it's never happened before. I mean, they had like, 100 people storm them and stuff like that. They had a few crazies go in and shoot a bunch of people, and Ben Gvir praises that. I mean, this guy wants total war. And he wants the world to come against Israel, because that'll make Jews circle the wagons around Netanyahu and the rest of them.
Hi, I'm Jake, and this was me shopping for car insurance. Stuck at my computer for hours, filling out the form after form, jumping from one page to another. 3 cups of coffee later.
Netanyahu and the rest of them.
Real time. Nah.
Oh, what was that?
Nah. Alex is 100% right on this. It's provocation. But it's deeper than this. It's not just a provocation in this realm, it's a spiritual provocation against these people. Because that spirit wants destruction. Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing it? No, you don't really see it. You don't really see it because you still arguing. In your mind, you're still arguing like this dude don't know what he's talking about. Watch this, watch this, watch this. I'm going to go to the Bible and show you in the Bible. Can I take you to the Bible? Can I show you in the Bible? Can I show you in the Bible? I'm going to take you to one of our Bible study slides. There's been people like, how getting your Bible study? Our Bible study has one enrollment time for the year. You enroll in at strongmenpraying.com. We're going to tell you the enrollment's open. You come in, we start our process. You get 3 classes that you can miss. When you miss them 3 classes, you get removed off the email list. Because it's a discipleship program. It ain't you come when you want to. Oh, I'm too busy. No. If you got to the point to where you want to know, you've been convicted, you're going to spend the time, you're going to dedicate the time. So just so you'll know, it's strongmenpraying.com. You can go ahead and submit your name and everything in there and sign up, but the class is closed. And many times, it'll be 100 people sign up, it'll be 50 people show up once, then drops down to 20 people, then drops down to 10, and then out of that 10, 5 stay. And we like, whatever, we're going to keep on going with the 5, everybody else get deleted. Because it's not a thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to do it when I feel like it. No, it's something that you're going to dedicate time to the Lord or you're not. But we ain't got time to be playing games with you. Watch this. A provoking spirit is a spiritual influence whose objective is to move the human will away from God's revealed will. They accomplish this through methods including excitement, enticement, persuasion, deception, fear, pride, offense, seduction, and other forms of influence until the individual chooses a course of action. Typically, the course of action is against God's will. Influence is a spiritual, emotional, intellectual, or relational pressure intended to move a person towards a decision. The Hebrew word that this is based on is sut. It means to incite, to instigate, or to move someone towards a course of action. Sut. All right, so, oh my goodness. This is not even on the screen for me. Let me reduce this. All right. To move a person towards a course of action is what it is, right? Now let's just go to the Bible and let's find a provoking, right? And it's real easy to find them, and it's easy to find incitement. That Satan incited Eve and Adam in the garden. But let me go to this one. Watch this. If you go to 1 Chronicles, is this it? Here we go. If you go to 1 Chronicles 19:2, and David said, I will show kindness unto Hanan, the son of Nahash, because his father showed kindness unto me. If you go look through the Bible, you can't find where actually Nahash actually showed kindness unto David or what that's about. Nobody knows what that's about. But watch this. And David sent messengers to comfort him concerning his father. So the servants of David came into the land of the children of Ammon to Hanan to comfort him. Now Hanan is the king of that land, right? And this is always provocations lead to when you're dealing with kings and men power. Watch this. But the princes of the children of Ammon said to Hanan, thinkest thou that David doeth honor thy father, that he sent comforters unto thee, and not his servants come unto thee for to search and to overthrow and spy out the land? So David says, okay, me and your dad was cool. I'm I'm sorry your dad died. I'm gonna send some people to, with my regards as far as your dad. The prince is there, and a prince is a king without territory, right? So you start talking about the rulers of darkness, wickedness, spiritual wickedness, high places. There's princes all over the place. They are rulers without territory. So we have all these people who are princes. They don't have a kingdom, but they're princes because their dad was a king at some point in time. So you got all these princes, these rulers, these people in power, these people, the people of the governors, all the people of influence are princes. Ben Gvir is a prince, basically. In the case of our congressmen and senators would be considered princes back in the biblical days. Governors would be considered princes, right? In the context of biblically, well, governors would be considered kings, Trump would be considered a king, state, senate, congressmen, all those people could be considered princes, right? So the people of influence say unto him, thinkest thou that David do honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee? Are not his servants come unto thee for to search and to overthrow and to spy unto the land? So they persuade him. They change his mind. Wherefore Hanan took David's servants and shaved them and cut their garments in the midst hard and their by their buttocks and sent them away. All right, so now they basically imagine a man with a big beard and hair, and he's got clothes on, and you shave his beard, shave his head, and cut the back of his pants out to where his ass is out while he's walking away. They humiliate the people, right? And then what happens is David meets them and says, okay, I want you to tarry at Jericho until your beards are grown. And when the children of Ammon saw that they had made themselves odious to David, meaning they had arousing, deserving hate, strong dislike, hatefulness, extreme unpleasantness, repulsiveness, and offensive, when they realized that, they started to prepare for war. So watch this. Watch what happened with President Trump. And you can go back and watch the news. So Netanyahu goes in the first time to bomb the nuclear site. Trump's like, okay, we'll bomb the nuclear site. Then you start to see the split between him and Trump, right? Now, Netanyahu realizes, okay, I made myself odious to Trump.
Right.
It was upon that point in time when he realized he made himself odious, that now he goes and says, okay, inside your Congress, inside your Senate, I'm going to manipulate your Congress and Senate to pass this bill, while you sit as president, that's going to make us merge our military with yours and put them in another box. So here's the box. So if the Congress passes it, and then the Senate passes it, it's got to go to the president's desk to sign it. Do you realize what's got to happen to the president when it goes to his desk to persuade him to sign that document? To destroy his legacy? It's going to destroy his legacy. Do you realize that what has to happen? Something bad has to happen to the president in order for them. Something bad has to happen, something around the president. There has to be some form of leverage. Unless the Epstein files, whatever you want to call the Epstein files, I don't think it'll be those files. I think it's going to be something extremely deadly to make him sign that. But nonetheless, do you understand in the process? So watch this. And it came to pass that after the year was expired, at the time that kings go out to battle, Joab led forth a powerful army. And so what happens is, after that provocation, there was a war. There was a war. And it happened at the time where kings go to battle. Well, DW, I get what you're saying, but what you're saying don't make no sense. It makes sense when you go dig into the time that kings go to battle. I'm about to freak your head out. I'm about to freak your whole damn head out and prove the point that I'm making. When is the time that kings go to battle? Now,
spring.
Scripturally, based upon the Jewish calendar, this is what this is based on. And we're dealing with some Jewish people. When's the time that kings go to battle? Nisan, March through April, April through May, and May through June. Now, I just want you to just stop for a second. I want you to think. What kind of crazy-ass events done happen between March and April, April to May, May to June? If you go back to 2025, that's when Donald Trump and Elon Musk had their falling out. Go back to 25, that's when all the Epstein stuff kicked off at the time where kings go to war. It always falls within this window. If you go back and look, and I'll even show it to you even more. 2008, February 2025, right on the 28th, right at the beginning of March, Trump-Zelensky White House confrontation. That's when Trump and Zelensky was going back and forth. It was right, February was the shortest month of the year. It was right on the cusp of this, and bam, we have that issue with Trump and Zelensky. June 5th, Trump and Elon Musk have their public fallout. Mid-June 2025, Trump and Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones have all this foolishness pop up. It's the season where kings go to war. And it plays out over and over and over again. Now, there's going to be doubters who be like, man, this dude, he just be trying to relate everything to the Bible. Let's go back to Alex and listen to what Alex had to say. Because Alex just said it. Watch this. Let me go back to Alex. Okay, now I want you to listen to Alex again. And I want you to do some math. Remember, February was the shortest month of the year. I remember that because people be like, man, they give black people Black History Month is the shortest month of the year, man. And I guarantee you the timing wasn't, it was probably like the 1st of March when it's all popped off. And even it said, beware of the Ides of March. The reason why they say beware of the Ides of March, because that's the season or the time when kings go to war. And I couldn't find a clip where he said it, but I know he said it because I heard him say it in the thing that I said before. But we'll just do the math. 146 days. Alex, go ahead and say it, brother. Go ahead, big AJ. The one on the age is Jake.
Netanyahu, he just said this twice on TV 2 weeks ago, and now he said it again last night. Netanyahu reveals how he convinced Trump to bomb Iran. It wasn't, do you allow us or not? It was, here's what we're going to do. I'm informing you. Says he brought 7 slides into the Oval Office and pitched the U.S. on using B-2 bombers to strike Iran Fordo nuclear site. And then he brags again, he got us into the new war of 146 days ago by saying we're striking, and they did strike on the 28th. We struck hours later in the morning of the 1st of March.
Mike Collins voted against releasing the Epstein files, even after he knew they exploited 14-year-old girls for sex. John Ossoff is going after the powerful and passed a law to stop child sex trafficking.
You can look at him.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Lord, because the Lord said, no, he gonna say it, just let it play. Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing the spirit of provocation? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There'll be people who like, and see, we got this camp now where it's like, they got these people who think that Donald Trump is playing 10-dimensional chess and that he's ahead of the enemy. And they got these people who think he's evil. That's a man. That's a man in a position of power that has everything contending with him. And what I'm seeing is the man that's in position of power has 0 spiritual counsel. 0. He got counsel, but it ain't no real spiritual counsel. So I'm gonna say this: we need to be praying for the president.
God bless him.
Because we've reached the point now where we're headed, the only person that can bail us out of this is the Lord. That's why I ain't been saying too much of nothing, because I'll go sit down and talk to him. Be like, well, show me this, Lord. Why is this? And he'll show it to me, and I'll be like, man, I don't want to come out and say bad about the president because I know that's your anointed. But people, believe it or not, I know that's your anointed. I know that doesn't help your anointed. But the issue is, this is a spiritual issue. That's why people are sitting there now saying, well, you know, Trump is 80 years old, and it's like he's diminishing, and this is because it's spiritual warfare on the president. And when the ecclesia itself was allowed to be divided down the middle by strife, it weakened all those prayers that were going for the president. Imagine for a moment, let's go back to the day of Butler, Tennessee, where he's standing there, he's talking, it's like, and then he died, and then the people surround him, and then imagine in the realm of the spirit, these columns of fire going up through to heaven, breaking through every demonic barrier that's over every city, just whoosh, fire going to heaven as prayer for the president. Now imagine how from that moment, based upon all the stuff that you've seen, how that fire is just deaded. But I can tell you what, the witches, the sorcerers, the diviners, the wicked people, their fire ain't never stopped. But that's one of the things that people know about Christians and about the ecclesia, not the building of church, that, oh, you can turn them against each other. You get them to turn their swords against each other at any point in time. But yet people, you'll hear Alex talk about the Illuminati and the satanic pedophile groups, and you hear him say, well, yeah, you know, they fight each other, but when they have something that's important, they come together and they accomplish their goal. And that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And I have been avoiding this because there's a risk for me even talking about this on YouTube. But this dude is more right than Alex is right on levels. He's right in levels that are like thousands of layers deep. That's how right he is when it comes to stuff. It's not like he's just right on the surface. People like, right on layers upon layers upon layers upon. It's just his gift is he just lays it out. But it's layers of depth to how he's right. That's why when I was on the show, I was like, nah, I watch your show and then I'll pray based upon what you're revealing, because he's revealing the warfare that's manifested in this realm. This is a manifestation of what's going on in a different realm. And he's just pointing out, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. And everybody, you know, you hear people getting upset, they want it. It's not a battle that you're going to win in this realm, because it didn't start here, it started somewhere else. That's the advantage that people have on the United States of America. That's the advantage that all the enemies have on the United States of America. That's the advantage that Islam has on the United States of America. They come into the territory and they start blasting their prayer calls in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the night, and all throughout the day. And then they say, oh, you know, these church bells are so offensive. Yeah, I can't listen to the bell, but yeah, you gotta hear good booty, good booty, good booty, good booty, good booty, oh. Because they're enchanting into the morning. Then you go to Job 38 and God is checking and he says, knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Hast thou spoken unto the morning and commanded it to shake off all wickedness from the ends of the earth? And the question is like, what the hell is God talking about? The Joe? DW, you just be talking crazy. You talk stupid. Man, whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. I'm gonna tell you like this. You're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today. We keep on playing around. We keep on playing around. You're gonna learn today. This is a war. And it ain't the war that you think it is. And we rededicated this nation to the Lord. This nation has a covenant with the Lord. And if people don't ask God to have respect unto that covenant, we're going to get a foot up our ass unlike anything you ever see. People getting offended and getting in there, watch, boy, don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 hey!
He
Never
tripping.
really wear it. Someone else will love them on vintage.
Got bad
Just slap a pic,
Tourette's.
list your item. Easy.
Got
What?
bad Tourette's. That was a nice way to end the show.
Well, this isn't really getting enough attention and we should cover it more, but the Israelis continue to show how psychotic they are. This is important because we continue to fund them. Now we're merging our militaries with their military. And yet this is the type of stuff that we're actually supporting. Here's an American doctor who was interviewed by Katie Halper. And he says that Palestinian children were buried alive.
Him witnessing two children being pushed into the mass grave by Israeli soldiers with a bulldozer, and then their cries being muffled by the dirt that was poured upon them while they were being buried alive. And then when the bodies were excavated, the red and green shirts of these kids, whose hands were tied behind their backs, were found. You know, that type of monstrousness, that level of heinous behavior can only happen if your hatred is formulated by design from your birth.
We don't hear stories like that about Palestinians doing that to Israelis, burying their children alive, hands tied behind their back, listening to their screams, that's the way they're going to kill them. I mean, this is absolutely shocking. And this is the type of behavior that we are supporting. And it's not just this. The settlers are going and being incredibly violent. And, you know, all we do is we say, hey, and we say to Israel, hey, stop, tell your settlers to stop it. But we don't do anything to actually protect the people. It's unbelievable. But here is a report about settlers attacking a Palestinian village. They actually threw gasoline through a window onto a baby, nearly burning the baby alive. Watch this. Well, if you watch my show, you already know I don't buy the official story at face value. Whether it's economic policy, foreign wars, or media narratives, I've often seen how the public gets told one thing while something very different is actually happening underneath. And when it comes to the economy, there are real warning signs building. You've got rising debt and inflation that just won't go away. Policy keeps shifting based on politics instead of any real long-term plan. And the people who feel it first are everyday Americans. Costs keep climbing, your dollar doesn't stretch as far, and your retirement is starting to feel a lot less certain. So the question is, what do you actually control? Because I'm a big believer in stepping outside systems that depend entirely on trust. That's why I like owning something real. Physical gold and silver from the company I trust, American Hartford Gold. These are tangible assets, not numbers on a screen, not something that depends on the Fed getting it right or politicians suddenly becoming responsible. Gold has held its value through inflation, currency devaluation, and major economic shifts. American Hartford Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews. They'll deliver gold and silver directly to your door or help you move into a gold IRA if you're serious about protecting your retirement. Because independence isn't just about what you think, it's also about what you own. Also, if you call today and tell them I sent you, you could get up to $20,000 in free silver with your first purchase. Call 866-584-3884 or text Kim to 65532. That's 866-584-3884 or text Kim to 65532 or click the link in the video description.
Dozens of masked Israeli settlers launched a pogrom in the village of Tvani Masaferyata in the middle of the night. They vandalized the houses and set fire to the homes, vehicles, and the village mosque. They paid revenge on one of the houses. Palestinians living on their own land?
After the midnight, over than 30 settlers, they raided my village, the village of Twani. They start smashing the windows of the mosque, trying to throw gasoline and burning materials inside it so they can burn it all. Then they removed from the mosque to this house right there. There was a little child sleeping under the window. After they smashed it, they dropped the gasoline. The gasoline came all totally on the Palestinian child. Then later they start throwing stones from outside the window, and they hit his mother, she's pregnant actually. With the milk factory, they started from here. They try to smash the door so they can break into the yogurt factory. Yogurt and the stuff, it was totally destroyed. It was like fresh yogurt that they want to sell it. This factory, it's the only factory in Masafer Yatta, and it's all women in Masafer Yatta are welcomed to work here. It's offer like jobs for the Palestinian women in Masafer Yatta. And it was actually a very, very scary moment, because when I saw it, that they start with the mosque and the other house, in my house, then I said, okay, the entire village will be set on fire. family are getting burned, everything is getting burned, our properties are getting burned, and I cannot do anything. I knew if I will come even closer to them, I will be beaten and maybe I will be burned like or beaten till death. I saw myself actually displaced from my village because of the scenes that I saw yesterday. It's written revenge in Hebrew, and they write the Star of David. They throw the gasoline inside the car, and in few seconds the car was totally on fire. There is a phrase in Arabic which is said like, in one hand you will never make the sound of the clap, but with two hands you can make the sound of the clap. And I said this because we want, as we are Palestinians, one of these hands, and we want the people out of Palestine in Europe, and the people that they believe in humanity, and they have like brothers and sisters, and the humans that they live in Palestine, and they care about them. We want them as the second hand, so both of us together, we can make the sound of the clap. And it's not literally the sound of the clap. I mean, we can reach for freedom, we can reach for peace, and we can reach for a better life than what we are living now.
Just unbelievable, the level of depravity that is going on over there. And it's not just, there's more. Let me show you this. This is a family, the Yossi Rainier family. And this guy tweets this out. This is what he says in his tweet, which is right here. And I'll go ahead and read it to you. It says, "We're leaving our luxurious penthouse in Beit Shemesh and moving to live on an isolated farm by the Jordan Valley near a hostile Palestinian village. I'm writing this sentence and still struggling to believe that it is real. All my life, I read about Zionism, about settling the land, about the self-sacrifice of the settlers and the 11 points that went up on the ground in one night in 1946, about the pioneers of the past, about people who left everything and dedicated themselves to a vision, about settling the land of Israel, not in words, but with hands and feet. I read, I was moved, and the feeling always lingered in me that I too want to be a part of this wonderful thing, not just to talk about Zionism, not just to be moved by other people's stories, but to get up and do. Now we have decided to stop reading the history and start writing it. After lots of thoughts, doubts, and late night conversations, my wife Esty and I made a joint and courageous decision that will change our lives. Both of us have obtained weapons licenses. We are leaving our luxurious penthouse in Beit Shemesh, parting from the family that enveloped us, from the amazing community, from the friends close to us, giving up the short commute to my job in Jerusalem, and packing up our lives on the way to a new place. Where are we moving to? To an isolated farm in unplowed land near a hostile Palestinian village. We will only be the second family to arrive and live there. This farm is a real line of containment that stops the enemy's takeover of areas of the land of Israel around the village. When we visited the farm, we realized that on the site itself, there are abandoned structures built by Palestinians before the farm owner arrived at the place. We are coming there to settle the land with our bodies, to build a home, raise children, guard the land, and create a reality that will not allow in the future establishment of a Palestinian state in the heart of the land of Israel. I'm not fooling myself. This will be a complex journey. Esty may need to find a new job. We will need to find our 4-year-old light, quality, and value-based framework. We will distance ourselves from friends, from the community, from stores, from the roads, and from the comfort we have grown accustomed to. We will exchange the familiar sense of security for a life in which security responsibility is part of the routine. Yes, we will need to live by the sword. We'll have no doubt that there will be not so easy moments. There will be fears. There will be difficulties. Probably there will also be days when we miss our home in Beit Shemesh and the life we had. But our heart is whole. We are fulfilling a huge dream, a dream for our children, and an ideological dream that we have thought about for years. We want our children to grow up knowing that values are not just beautiful sentences taught in school. Values are the choices you're willing to make, the things you're willing to give up, and the price you're willing to pay for what you believe in.
It's crazy stuff. Yeah, I'll be right back.
family, Zionist and value-driven mission. It will be challenging, sometimes perhaps even tough, but I know that every morning we wake up there, every tree we plant, every light we turn on, and every laugh of the children in the yard will be part of something much bigger than us. We don't know exactly what the path will look like. We only know that the time has come to set out on it. Something new is beginning. Yeah, I hope that the path will lead them to jail, because that's where they belong if they're going to go and steal land in an area where they shouldn't be. If this happened in the United States, if anybody went and tried to squat on land that was just in the middle of the U.S., let's say it's, designated U.S., federal park or something, and well, nobody's building on it, nobody's here, it's ours, we should have it. And you go to jail when you do something like that. If you go to a foreign country, if we had a flood of Chinese people coming into the country and they said, you know what? America has a lot of land, empty land. When you drive from one city to another, there's a lot of empty land. So we could just go take it because nobody's there. It's unplowed, it's empty. These Americans think it's theirs. It's not. They're not doing anything with it, losers. So we're going to take it for ourselves. I mean, how well would that go over? And we'd probably try our best to round them up and put them in jail or deport them or something along those lines. And yet you've got Israeli. This is the mentality. I mean, this is the importance of that is to show the insanity and the mentality, that, I grew up listening to these stories. This is our land. We're going to go take it. Yeah, well, the Mexicans could say the same thing. I mean, this land, a huge chunk of the United States was Mexico. And so I suppose the Mexicans that are flooding in, they could absolutely come and take a bunch of the land and say, hey, it's ours. It's historically ours. It's always been ours. Whitey, you belong in Europe. Get out of here. We're going to deport you back. And we're going to violently take it back over. This is America, and you guys don't look like the people who belong here. So you should go because you actually come from Europe. It'd be no different, but for some reason people can't think like that. A lot of these people think, no, this is America's a white land. White people, Europeans, this is Europe. Europe is across the Atlantic way. No, this is Europe. So if the Mexicans came and said, well, it's ours, we historically been here longer than you, we're going to take it, I don't think that would go over so well with the Texans. Yet here we are to show you the absolute insanity of these Israelis. It's just really, really too bad. Beyond too bad. Extra too bad that we're actually...
Or is going to pop. But it comes to the AI part when it comes to like surveillance, right? It's going to be, in my opinion, an enforcement of what they surveil. And then it's going to be control. And as American people and as the government, there's certain things that are in our Constitution that they can't do to us. But
they don't care anymore.
Yeah,
they don't care anymore. That's why it's so bad.
Now that another country right, not another country is occupying us officially. Everything is out the window. So if they need to knock somebody off, they can just do it, and nobody's going to say anything because they did it. And not us. So non-American people are now able to use their military on American people.
And they don't have to abide by the Constitution, to your point.
Because they're not Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously...
And again, this comes back to Christianity. And the reason that I believe that Charlie Kirk was truly killed. I don't believe that he was killed by Tyler Robinson over leftist politics. I believe that Charlie Kirk was killed for his faith in Jesus. And I truly believe that faith in Jesus is the greatest threat to the establishment. Because when you really believe in God, and you really believe in Jesus, and you really follow the scripture, you are not going to be able to be compromised by the establishment. And that makes you a liability. And in the case of Charlie Kirk, it makes you a threat. And I think that that is also part of the reason why we see them accelerating all of these plans. And they're not just going to try to attack our freedom of speech, but I think that they're going to try to manipulate Christianity to try to make sure that people lean a certain way. And I think that that is what we've seen from Turning Point USA since Charlie Kirk has been killed. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of it. And it's both concerning and disturbing at the same time. Hold on, I got another clip here that I want to play. I got these all mixed up right now. And guys, thank you for the super chats. I see them all. I'm going to take a break in a little bit and read some of them. I just want to get through these clips first. So we're there's a mutual, it went from mutually beneficial with certain policies to now mutually invested with everything. And that is a very big difference. The analogy that I made before is like, imagine you're like a young guy and you're very successful and you've got a couple $1 million, you've got a house, you've got everything, and oh shit. This is not the clip that I wanted to play, but I'm gonna play it for you guys anyway.
Be right back. I'll need my where's my jack?
Hold on, let me see. I'm definitely gonna play this clip anyway, regardless, though, because I like what I said, if you watch the stream, then you've already heard it. Hold on, let me see. No, let me go back to Nate's first. Let me go back to Nate's real quick. Hold on. Here we go. And then I'll still play my response after. Well, that's not the only reason though, because if we give it to them and then theirs gets shot down or stolen, then we're getting compromised.
That's you're one step ahead of it. So that's what we're going to get. Our greatest ally, to Base's point, he said it right before I did, has a very bad history and pattern of taking our tech and then selling it to our enemies, aka Russia. So, to Base's point, which I think you're going with this, Base, it's not just that we're giving them the technology. We pretty much just gave all of our enemies the technology. Right? Isn't that where you're going with that, Base?
Well, no, I wasn't even going the trader route, like they were going to straight with it forward and just give it away. I was saying
sell it.
No, not even sell it, but like if let's say they're using one of our highest tech and fighter jets or whatever, and it gets shot down, and then it falls in enemy territory, and then they get it. Now they have access. Yes. Caught myself. Right now, the clip that I almost accidentally played was me comparing the legislation as like a marriage, that we're officially marrying our not so greatest ally. And my analogy is, imagine you are a young guy that's very well off. You've got money, you've got a good job, you own a house, and you have this hot young girl or hot girl that you're dating, but she's kind of an alcoholic. She's pretty toxic, and she's always getting you into trouble. Now, a smart individual would just break it off. But every now and then you get these guys, that they just think that they're going to make it work. They think that they're going to be able to control the situation. They think it's all going to work out. Or maybe they get leveraged in some way. Maybe they get the girl pregnant. Maybe they got like a little Epstein baby, and now they got to get hitched. And now all of a sudden you go from just dating a toxic girl to marrying her. And now, you don't just have to worry about pissing off all your relatives that can't stand the woman and don't understand why you're with her. But now she has access to your bank account. She has some sort of ownership with your house. If you're gonna buy a boat in the future, she gets half of that too. And that is my fear with how I perceive this deal. I don't know. Chat, let me know what you guys think. If you think that is an accurate analogy. And while you guys do that, I'm going to...
That's a funny analogy, is what that was.
Huh? Hold on. Yo, I went all out of order with these clips from the golden... Sorry about that. Elevator 2015. And all the ups and downs, all the times that he had all of us behind him rallying and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is how he's going to be remembered.
And the way he'll think about it, just because of how his brain is he's going to be like, I was the greatest, the greatest president Israel's ever done. And he'll actually say that to himself and be like, wow.
And that's going to make him want to double down. That's gonna make him want to double down.
The greatest president they ever had.
Oh yeah. Wow. You're not wrong. So
wow.
Now it's just
Watch this, turn water into ice in just 6 minutes. Can't believe I've actually been using this little shitty thing to make my ice cubes. So I finally upgraded to this bad boy. Apparently this basket gets full every 6 minutes full of ice. I'm going to stop that.
That is impossible. No. And when somebody gives me the old tropism of that's anti-Semitic, I know I'm over the target. I'm over the target. Thank you for that very much. I'm over the target if that's the first thing you can tell me. And that's what they do. That's what they do. Second issue regarding this. Be careful if it matters. Try to use the word. Got a brand new Cajun new member. Thank you. Whenever you use the word Jew versus Israel. Now sometimes it's a shorthand. Sometimes it's just they're used intermittently or interchangeably or something interchangeably. Sometimes they're used with synonymous. But Israel, Zionists, and Jews have all really nothing to do with each other and can be mutually exclusive. You can be an Israeli and be Arab. If you've ever been there, if you've been to Jerusalem, the people in the souk, they're all Arabs. I don't know where there's people. Not everybody there. There's Christians and there's all types of people who are in Israel. That's kind of what we're talking about. But that is one of the things which is very, 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 very fascinating. A beautiful word right now to Colleen. Colleen, thank you so much. Colleen says, this is just my opinion. I foresee Tyler Robinson being set free because they have no evidence. Tyler Robinson knew something, but he's not the one that's not the one that was Charlie shot, because Charlie wasn't shot and his shirt was burned. This is my opinion. I foresee Tyler Robinson being set free because they have no evidence, true. Tyler Robinson knew something, but he's not the one that was, I guess, Charlie's shooter to me, because Charlie wasn't shot and his shirt was burned. That makes impeccable sense. And by the way, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That makes incredible sense for a variety of reasons. And this is something that
incredible means can't be credited.
Have to kind of understand.
So that means without a receipt.
Whenever you talk about murder,
But,
listen to what I'm saying. I'm not going to lead you wrong. If you talk about murder cases, homicide, drug cases, medical malpractice, civil, but a drug driving, you get into chemistry, physiology, you get into a lot of things, a lot of specifics. With homicides in this, you have ballistics, you have experts, you have angles, you have wound patterns, you have a lot of things. That is how it works. If you are claiming somebody entered a home and you have no evidence of them entering it, doors aren't broken, locks aren't broken, nothing. Now you have to be an expert in locks, physical structures, and how you get in. So criminal, it's very interesting. One of the best parts about criminal trial law is you get into a lot of chemistry, a lot of physics, and a lot of expert witnesses, because invariably somebody's in drugs. Oh my God, in drug cases. You should see different. If you're I hope you have more than this, but in the old days, 28 grams was an ounce. And that was minimum mandatory for 3 years minimum mandatory. And sometimes normally more than an ounce. But if, let's say it's an ounce, they would always sell the street ounce. They would sell an amount less than 28 grams. But what happens if the amount that was picked up, that was originally, because of desiccation, it dries out, loses water, lowers weight. You get into weights and measures, and you bring in experts with that. Here's one for you. What if I have a gallon of water, and I put a flake of cocaine? Is that cocaine? Yes. It's a very dilute. It makes no sense to me. What do you mean? It's dilute. And the interesting part about that is that even though it won't get anybody high, technically speaking, so then we got to get into the notion of, well, how much was in there? And it's a fascinating issue if you think about it, about how things work. Another great question, by the way, your question.
That's amazing. Okay. Thanks. Let me roll.
questions are simple. This question says, the Shit Show podcast says, how do courts distinguish between a politically motivated murder and domestic terror when the underlying facts may support both characterization? An absolutely brilliant question. Give yourself a gold star for that. And by the way, I love this. The question that is asked is, first, the issue is critical thinking. Does it matter if it's murder, assassination, terrorism, hate crime? We had one time a case of a fellow whose house was burned down. He was arson, and I charged a guy with first degree. It was arson, the first degree. It was a life felony. You couldn't get any more. You can't get the death penalty, but it was a life felony. It was as powerful and as strong. This fellow said, "I want," because it was gay. He said, "I want you to call this a hate." We didn't have hate crimes. I said, "Sir, I charged the highest. I want this to be declared a hate." And he kept going on and going on and going on. So I said to Your Honor, this particular time, the state would announce that this is a hate crime. And the judge says, "What is a hate crime?" And I said, "You know, I swear to you, it sounds weird, but if anybody's watching me, he said, oh, yes, hate crime it is." And we moved on. And he was happy, and I was happy. True story regarding hate. This is the true story. Guy goes up to he's about to knock. Okay, he's about to knock. There's a paper plate on the door, like a thumbtack. It says, "If you're the following people, do not knock." So he's just reading it. He's not even knocking. He's seeing if he's on the hit parade. All of a sudden the door swings open. This guy comes out with a hatchet and an axe and a hatchet and starts chasing. I never found out why. I do not know why. And he said, "This was a hate crime." I said, "Yes, sir." And I said, "Your Honor, I would remind you, we didn't have hate crime. Yes? This time the state would announce theirs is a hate crime." Indeed, the defense lawyer said, "What is a hate crime?" I said, "You know." "Oh, okay." Because we didn't know what that meant. It meant no difference. Hate crimes really matter, by the way, just for the federal court. And I think they're stupid. Because it doesn't matter your motivation. Now, going back to this. What is terrorism? Terrorism is something that's done specifically to cause great fear and trepidation in a people, to let them feel like, for example, there's a series of suitcase explosions at Las Vegas, or the Mall of America, or the World Cup. All of a sudden, pow, pow, pow. You know what's
You have a call at no expense to you from
Joshua Blocker.
Inmate at Will Office. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time.
Yo.
Yo, what up?
Chillin'.
Hey. You done any YouTube videos and TikTok videos lately?
I haven't done any today yet. Cause I haven't thought of any yet. But I probably will in a minute.
Taco Bell. Taco Taco is the mile top.
Can't eat at Taco Bell right now.
Oh yeah, because of the lettuce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But people still eating there. Like I went there 2 days ago and it was packed out. Pretty sure I went there yesterday.
I might go to Papa John's.
It'll probably be over by then. But we do it. Yeah, we do it.
You gotta tell them, my Papa John's, 3 servings of sauce, 3 servings of cheese, and Italian sausage and pepperoni. And that's really good. And a dip it in pizza sauce. And I got about that plan. I plan. And came up with top of my head. You know, another day there, and it's all good. Every time went out to the homeless, I like to do that.
Right on.
Maybe we'll go and give them $5 every two, and then I'll go give them $5. So I always go to get $5.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, Atlanta's gonna be off. I'm gonna ride the motorbike. I love the motorbike. It was free during COVID. I don't know if it's still free.
Probably not.
But probably not, yeah. You gotta have a motor card. Money on hard track. That's what I did when I ran away from the Andre house. I went to East Point and walked around there. I met all kind of people.
Yeah.
And there was a gas station where they were selling a bunch of dope, and I listened to them, and I got some change, some dollars, some money, and then I went on my way. It was freaking, it was alright, but it was better in Mobile. In Mobile, I was sick. It was freaking awesome. Even in my arm, I got a socket. And I was talking about my arm, I got a socket, and God said, they'll give you more change. And I was like, okay. And he just wasn't really, because he knew I wasn't going to go to the hospital, but I was worried about it. But he said my arm was on the nerve, so it was really dangerous. And he was, and I was lucky to be able to get it fixed.
Glory to God.
Yeah. I came up out the seat, and when they put me in the seat to do the arm, I came up out of it, and I said, they said, who's the president? I said, Joe Biden. And he made a deal with the Hezbollah or something and it was a ceasefire, and it was give up people they kidnapped. And he made a deal for people they kidnapped, and they were giving back like 3 or 4 people, like 20 soldiers that they had. So it wasn't a really good deal with the
Okay. What am I doing? Picking up? Picking up, right? Time is up. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Moving and doing it. Let's go. West Hunter Street Baptist Church. That's a big church. It's huge.
behind the smoke yard, and it's getting dark, so it's pretty cool. I like being out in the dark and in twilight. I like it a lot. The guy's sitting right beside me, and he's got this new love stuff that might be old love stuff, but I can feel his presence, and it feels really good. It's like presence, and it's like pleasing presence. It's pretty awesome. He's sitting right here, and it's all black Nike feet with Nike shoes, and iced out gold chain with 3 Jesus pieces on it, and 2 pinky rings, and a Rolex, gold pinky ring, and a gold pinky. So he's iced out. And I told the doctor that, and she said, he's iced out then. And I was like, yeah, he is. So it's been cool. But I ain't never been out of the building until they let me go see you away. But it's all good. I just be sleeping with him. And it's all good. And I talked to Jefferson. He's the one who wanted me to adopt her in Dallas and called me from it. And he had to know what county it was to find out the doctor. And that's good that, they won't have a problem. I don't think there's a message of being a Class B about getting out, because I've seen people die. So I know they're not going to mess with me, but that's just being part of the system, trying to help by trying to not go to a doctor. And I will, and I'll ask them to give me some all right medicine, and maybe they'll give me the Wellbutrin. I love the Wellbutrin. And, I'll get my medicine and I'll be straight. But I'm probably not going to take the lithium and buy anymore. But I'll take this Celexa. It's an antidepressant. It's a new antidepressant. Because I used to take Prozac, and it worked. But new Celexa is supposed to work real good, because they only give me 5 milligrams. And I take 60 milligrams of Prozac. So, I don't know. But I like antidepressants because it makes you happy. It makes you happy like you smoke some records. Yeah, that's what I was in the county in Dothan, my first bid for 6 months, and I was in there, and he said, if you go tell the doctor if you're depressed, you'll get Prozac, and it makes you feel like you smoke resin all day. Okay, I went to the doctor when I was depressed, and I got some Prozac, and then I took the Prozac to the rehab that I was going to, and they said, how many milligrams do you take? And I was like, 40, but he had really given me 20. So I ran out, they gave me enough for the rehab. So I ran out halfway through, and then Mom went and got me some Prozac from her doctor. And so I had Prozac, and that rehab was really cool. I loved it. But Mama Brady stuff, she couldn't visit me anymore because I was being truthful. And I shouldn't have been truthful at that time. But I was at visitation. One minute remaining. Hey, can I call you right back?
Alright. Love you. God bless you. Talk to you in a minute.
Love you.
Peace. Bye.
They're all liars. Yeah. And by the way, please don't understand that the Strait of Hormuz, that I think it matters. We've been talking about that for a long time. For the first time I've ever heard a friend of mine who was a British folk. He's kind of an interesting dude. He does a lot of international stuff. Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb, especially with the Red Sea. I don't think that's important. But if you think I can do an hour on the Strait of Hormuz, no, it's boring. How about that Strait of Hormuz? Be hell if they shut that down. It sure would. I don't want to see gas go to $20 a gallon. Okay, there we go. I just discussed it. You want to talk about it again? Why don't you say that? Here now you say, I don't want gas to go $20. And I'll say it again. There's nothing really to talk about. There's no flesh. There's no subdirect reasons. But I am of the opinion, first of all, I expect nothing. I do not think, I'm not depressed. I do not think people are good. I don't use words like evil and all that. I feel like I'm in a world, I'm in a pen or corral with animals that are vile and they're disgusting and they hurt each other.
Hey.
Hello, you have a call at no expense to you from
Joshua Blocker.
an inmate at Bullock Correctional Facility. To accept this call.
Oh, cute kids. Cute kids. God bless the children. God bless the children all together. In Jesus' name.
Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
What up, bro?
Nothing.
Alright, so I was at rehab and I went to visitation. And the first day of visitation, Mom brought me 4 Lortab pins, 3 OxyContin, 6 Xanaxes, and it was like a handful of pills. And I took the pills and I went in the bathroom and I looked at the pills and I was like, well, I'm gonna jump the fence if I take these pills. And I'm gonna go to prison. I don't want to go to prison. So I took them back to her and gave them back to her. And then tweaking, I went into
The customer requested you leave the order at their door. They added the following instructions. Leave at my door. Leave in black chair.
But she still brought me a bunch of clothes and a bunch of stuff and Newports and everything and all that. And I was just trying to do right, but it wasn't right. So, ever since I'm a mama. But it's all good. I was just worried about prison. But, and then I went to the freaking halfway house in Huntsville. And touch the bottom. I go down, I want to touch the bottom. I said, okay, well, hold your breath and don't let it go till you come back up. She said, okay, and put my little hand on the bottom. She was a little more positive, and she loved it. And we did it like 20 times. And then now someone rides the yellow four-wheeler that I had, a power wheel, and we ride it. And Craig's son, I forgot his name, but Craig's son, I hung out with him a lot too while I was there. And I told him that it was not Santa Claus, it was your mama, and I mean it was Aunt Patsy and your dad that bringing you the presents. I know this. And he said, no man, it's Santa Claus. They tell me it's Santa Claus, I believe it's Santa Claus. I was like, all right, well, we will set all these toys out to hurt Santa Claus' feet so we can, when we wake up, we can catch him. And I put toys all over the floor where, you know, he'd have to make toys and freaking. And then we were trying to stay up, but we wouldn't sleep. So when we woke up, all the toys were gone, and they were put in their place. And so they said, Santa Claus is real. And I was like, man, they got me. I can't believe I went to sleep. It was cool, man. And they were like, it is Santa Claus, Josh. I was okay. It was cool, man. Yeah, they were serious about that. But what they did was that when I got there, they were like, here's what we're serving you for food. And I was like, where's my soda? I want my Coke, my Mellow Yellow. She's like, you got milk. And so I was like, am I going to get milk every meal? And they were like, yes, get milk every meal. You don't drink soda. And I was like, what? I told Mom, I said, I'm going to tell him I'm lactose intolerant. and I told him I was lactose intolerant, and they gave me orange juice. And I really did it. Patsy was serious. And we were riding in the car, listening to that Devil Went Down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul steal. And he said something in there, said a cuss word. And I'm struggling with the cuss word. Yeah, that's the little phone. It's a couple. Where'd it go? And they said, you're not supposed to cuss. And then they told me that that's not in that song. We know for sure that's not in the song. I said, I got the song at the house. I know that cuss word is in there. And they were like, no, it is not. And I was like, okay. Craig and Pepsi, man. That was funny. And I visited them. It was cool. We went to the zoo in California. Well, I talked to her on the phone, and it was pretty cool. We're still out on the smoke yard, and it's getting dark, and that's cool. Yeah, I'd love to be giving out drinks with you tonight. Arizona tea.
Okay, here we go. The other night I got a piece of chicken from Popeyes. They gave me a piece of chicken for free because it made me wait too long. And then when I was driving down the road, I come across this dude and he's like, hey, I'm starving. I'm like, oh, you shoot, you blessed there. You get this chicken. He's like, what? Alright, let's see. Let's see something. Hijo David, ten compassion por nosotros. What? Let's get this started now. What does it say?
It's just terrible. Politics is lying. Lying. I love history. Please. History is learning from mistakes. History is one big mistake. Gene McCarthy, during the Vietnam War, when he thought that Johnson was going to go with him, and he didn't. He double-crossed him. He told you come to your family, bring your family to Atlantic City. I'm gonna back you, and he backed Humphrey. He just lied to him. Johnson might have been as close to being a serial killer. Rumor has it he might have killed his sister, Josepha. This is a bad dude. A blatant liar. And I understand that the first time you meet somebody, you would say, thank you, Mr. Trump, or thank you. Whoever runs next time, you can say, I understand you're going to change your mind. I understand that the Trump we hear today is not going to be the Trump we hear later on because things change. We understand that in order for you to run for office, this is what Sean doesn't understand, you're going to have to say certain things. And if things change later on, that's the way that goes. Sorry, that's the way it goes. You want to be stuck with as few lies as possible. The circumstances will dictate. I am absolutely shocked at how it appears that our foreign policy is being written by Tel Aviv. Not all, not Ukraine, but when it comes to the Middle East, oh, absolutely. I mean, and listen, AIPAC, hats off to you. I can respect people. I can respect people who would take.
Well then, that was interesting.
intimidate, con, put pressure on? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I know you're not supposed to, but I can. I know that's a terrible thing. So Sean Ryan he's going through all this stuff. He's got to see spiritual stuff. See, I don't have that. I don't have any. I don't expect anything. I'm not disappointed. I expect absolutely nothing. This is the game. If you don't want to get into it, don't get into it. It's cutthroat. It's cutthroat. You want to help people? You want to help people? Talk to somebody who works in pediatric oncology. I had a friend of mine years ago. Pediatric oncology. Every day you go in a room, you see poor kids with tubes in their nose, and they're dying. Every single day of your life. And you get to know them. And you get pictures on his wall. And all these kids, dead. A lot of them are okay. But this is his world. Every single day. Makes the best of it. He says, I can do one of two things. I can leave this, or I can stay in it and try to help. Maybe I can make a kid's last days on earth better. Maybe I can give solace. Maybe I can cure somebody. Or I can just quit. I can say, ooh, is this too icky for me? Sorry. A lot of people do, if you're not good at something. I want to be in it. I want to do the worst stuff there is. I want to get my hands dirty. I really want to do that. I think that is the most interesting. That's why I love the murder cases are the most interesting, because they're the most horrible. And if ever that was really important, I always thought to myself,
what if I told you that you could turn your boring bedroom or car into a literal underwater galaxy in exactly 1 second? Yeah, I didn't believe it either until I saw this. This is the Kamau.
All right, guys, we have some interesting news to share with you. Thursday night, I was talking about the U.S.-Israel merger, that NDAA bill that the House did pass. And someone sent me 2 videos that I think is really important for this conversation from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I think it's important that we understand how these bills and the voting process actually works in the House. And kudos to the individual that sent me these videos, because what I thought had happened, part of that was the case, but there's another component to the story that I think is very important, so that people understand how those votes actually took place and what those votes actually mean. So there's a first vote, and then there's a second vote. And Marjorie Taylor Greene actually broke that down. Apparently, it's been brought to my attention that she has, I guess, a YouTube channel now, and on that channel, she's been explaining how some things work or did work in the House when she was there. So I want you to hear what she says here about how those votes happened and the difference between voting the first time and voting the second time. This is very, Congress is sneaky. This is very sneaky what they did here. Check this out.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I wanted to make you guys a quick video just to explain the NDAA vote. That's the National Defense Authorization Act. This is the bill that you've heard a lot about that contains Section 219, which is the actual merging of U.S. military intelligence and also our defense supply chain, which is incredibly important. That's all types of contracts that build all types of weapons and equipment for our military. That Section 219 merges the United States military with the Israeli military. This is something that should never happen with any foreign country. It's a complete destruction to our sovereignty and is completely America last. So I really want to explain this vote to you because I'm seeing all types of wrong information and misunderstandings on social media. Okay, so there was 2 votes for the NDAA that had Section 219 in it. Yesterday there was the rule vote. The rule vote is basically a vote on the House floor that totally separate. The final passage vote can be a standalone bill, or it can be a package of bills. That's another thing they do to trick members of Congress to vote for something that another bill they really want to pass, even if they're against another one. It'll trick them to vote yes when they really want to vote no.
And the question we all need to ask, are our representatives actually reading these bills? Because let's say a bill is 100 pages long. Are they reading 100 pages before they actually vote for a piece of legislation? I'm guessing not. If we look at, let's say the day of a congressperson, and let's say they also have interviews that day. Let's say like Thomas Massey Rokada, like they've been doing a number of interviews, right? So let's say that they have 4 interviews scheduled today, back to back. All right. So, and depending on how the interviews take place, maybe it might be virtual, maybe it might be in person. That's another thing we got to discuss more time. So let's say 4 interviews, for the sake of, transportation, etc., that type of thing. Let's say roughly around about 3 hours. That's 3 hours already gone. But they still have, let's say, 2 bills that they need to look at as well. Along with that, any other meetings that they have throughout the day. Do you really believe that these Congress members are reading all of these pages of these bills? Because I'm willing to bet that they're not. I'm willing to bet they're just reading the summary of the bills. So if you look at a bill, you'll see this for yourself. There's like that summary, that little blurb that tells you what the bill is, but the devil is always in the details. And so I'm starting to wonder that if they're actually reading what they're voting for.
Well, the rule vote for the NDAA, this is really important. If the 7 total Republicans that had voted no on final passage, if they had all voted no on the rule vote, guess what? That would have totally stopped the NDAA. It wouldn't have moved forward. They would have stopped Section 219. So I really appreciate those 7 Republicans that voted no to final passage. However, I wish 6 of them had voted no with Thomas Massey, because Thomas Massey had the courage to vote no on the rule. If those 6 Republicans had voted no on the rule, then I don't think the NDAA would have moved forward, and there would have been a much bigger fight on Section 219. So I wanted to
pause that for a second. So that's the piece that I was missing from Thursday night. That is important. Yeah, it's good that they voted no on the second vote, but for this bill to be more effective, to block it, to be more effective at blocking it, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, they should have voted no on the first vote, the rule vote. And then 2, this brings up another question. Why does Congress even have it operate this way, where you have to have these 2, separate votes? But regardless, what I want to tell you is those 6 Republicans who voted along with Thomas Massey the second time around under the passage vote, but not the first time around under the rule vote, they knew what they were doing. And I think this is important because now some of them are touting, like on social media, look, I voted against the NDAA, which actually isn't 100% correct. Technically, no. Because if you were really voting against it, you would have voted against it the first time around. And I think she's right. That bill would not have moved forward. This is how Congress members trick you into thinking that they did something when they actually didn't. And they knew, this is the other part we're going to get to, why I call it the safe vote, the second vote. They knew that after the rule vote, they already knew that the bill was going to pass anyway, because they already knew those 6 Democrats, the rotating villains, were not going to vote the other way. So they knew the Democrats in the House did not have everybody. If you know that, then it makes it easier for you to vote no the second time around. So they're sneaky. That's Chip Roy, Anna Paulina, the rest of them. That was sneaky. And they're trying to get credit for something that isn't exactly true.
break that down and explain it to you. Also, I totally agree with you because right now you're saying, why are there 2 votes? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look, it's a complicated system. All of it's ridiculous, but they make it complicated on purpose, and they do that so they can get garbage passed and horrible things put into law, and it makes it really hard for members of Congress to stand up and stop it. A second thing I want to explain to you. Now that the NDAA has passed the House, it passed the House today with 216 yes votes, 212 no votes. It is the next stage is this bill moves on to the Senate. So bills have to pass the House, the Senate, before they go to the president's desk. Now that the NDAA will go to the Senate, there's one person that I'm calling on that could really make a difference here, and that is the president of the Senate, who happens to be the vice president, J.D. Vance. Now, the vice president, J.D. Vance, he is the go-between and the major communicator between the White House, which is the admin, and the Senate.
If you have credit under 600, this is my favorite hack that I tell literally everyone about. It's called Kickoff, and I have yet to find an easier way to raise credit. Here's how it works. So you're going to download the Kickoff app where they're going to give you a line of credit. Then you just pay a couple bucks a month. You can put your payments on auto pay, so it's always paid on time, and Kickoff reports all of this to the credit bureaus. Applies so fast.
And the Senate.
This is like honestly a major civics lesson here, ladies and gents. And I took civics in school, and I was also on the debate team. But they didn't break things down like this, right? Like there's a rule vote, and then there's a passage vote, the safe vote. I really do appreciate her doing this here because this needs to be explained to people. Now, when she's getting into this part here about the J.D. Vance because he's the vice president, this is very important. This is what many of us were calling on Kamala Harris to do when Biden was president, to come in and overrule the parliamentarian. The vice president can come in, and if there's a tie in the Senate, they can actually break that tie. And at one point, when they were trying to pass the $15 minimum wage, Kamala Harris could have done that, and she chose not to do that. So this was another thing where we're saying about knowing the power you have and how to use it. Now, I'm pretty sure Kamala Harris knew that, but she was probably told not to do it, right? So it's like you have all these puppets that are in there, but if people are not utilizing these tools that we have in Congress, hundreds of thousands of people, because this is absolutely insane. This bill is going to the Senate. I'm willing to bet you John Fetterman is going to vote for it. So that's one Democrat that's not going to vote along with the other Democrats. I'm not even sure the other Democrats are going to vote against it. Kirsten Gillibrand will probably support the NDAA. There's going to be those ones that are going to block it. And this is a thing I want to point out. When they tell you you got to back the party no matter what, when it comes time to vote, I think it's important that you remind these politicians that you yourself don't even back your party when you're voting on legislation. There's always one or two or three rotating villains that stop something meaningful from happening for the people. And I consider this bill, the NDAA, this is meaningful to the American people. The Americans, the majority of Americans, don't want our military merging with Israel's military. That basically means that Israel gets everything. Do you get me? And maybe I didn't go as deep about this before, but that merger is basically handing things over to them. The intelligence is there. The tech is there. You get me? It's not going to be the other way around where everything is handed over to us. No, it'll be handed over to them. Israel will spy. You think spying on us now? They're going to spy on us even more. They will have complete control over these things. There's no shared interest or shared partnership. It's not going to be 50-50 with Israel. They are going to be the dominant, factor here. So people have to understand that. But again, hardcore civics lesson here that I think more of us need to understand.
And J.D. Vance, who I have strongly supported in the past, is also served as a senator. So he has good connections there in the Senate. This is where we really need someone that's on the team of America First to step up in a big, big way. And this is where Vice President J.D. Vance can come in and he can put a stop to Section 219.
How you
He
doing?
could come in and do the negotiations between the admin and the Senate where they can strike, completely wipe out Section 219, remove that section from the NDAA in the Senate, do that work in the Senate, and then it'll come back to the House for another vote where it should get full support from the GOP. I would imagine that most of those 7 would vote yes for a final passage on the NDAA. Section 219 was completely stripped out. So I wanted to explain this to you because one of the most confusing places in the world is the United States Congress. And it's also one of the most deceptive, corrupt, and failing institutions in the world, as they have now got all Americans in $40 trillion in debt. Social Security and Medicare will completely fail in 2032. And we're now fighting another foreign war when we were supposed to end all.
This is your DoorDash customer calling. Never share personal information, passwords, or verification codes with anyone over the phone. Calls may be monitored and recorded by DoorDash and service providers for quality.
Hey. Okay, I'll be right down there. Here I come. If you want to just stay on the line. Just, yeah. Because you'll be able to see me here in just a second. I'm pulling out, coming towards the stop sign, and I got my bright lights on.
Alright, yeah, I see you. Just drive forward.
Okay, awesome. I think I see you.
Yes, I see you.
Okay, awesome. But I know you want the straws for sure. So. All right. Right on, here we go. Listening to this.
This is where we're at now. So, yeah, I just wanted to communicate this to you, give you a simple explanation about the NDAA vote in the House, what Section 219 is, which is a complete betrayal to the American people. I think it's such a betrayal, I call it treason. And then lastly, I'm calling on Vice President J.D. Vance to completely strip
Section 219 out of the NDAA in the Senate, get that work done with Leader Thune, work with everybody there, Republicans and Democrats. This is about the United States sovereignty. There should not be political teams on this one. Okay, share this message. I hope it helped. I hope this was an explanation that helped you understand what was going on. And you guys have a good night.
Okay, again, whether you like Marjorie Taylor Greene or not, share this message so that people need to understand how these things work. And it sounds like to me, she's putting a challenge there towards JD Vance. Like, you need to do something, do the right thing here. Now, whether or not he's going to do that, I doubt it. You'll have to wait and see, because like he said, Donald Trump is his boss, right? Now, Lauren Boebert said yesterday in that interview with TMZ that the White House and Pete Hegseth don't even want this bill. She was one of the people that didn't vote because she said, I guess she was in a meeting or something like that and didn't know this was even happening. It's just crazy. But my thing is, if they didn't want it to happen, then it wouldn't have happened. Like, Donald Trump could put a stop to that easily by making a phone call to the GOP leadership there in the House, Mike Johnson, and saying to him, hell no, do not bring that to the floor for a vote. It wouldn't have been the first time that he would have done something like that. And so what I want to show you here, again, these people.
I found a place. It's like the story just continues. Footsteps.
People, Brasheen, Burchett, Crane, Hagman, Paulina Luna, Massey, and Roy, these people are not, people are touting them as heroes. They're not heroes. They were still cowards because they didn't do that vote when it really mattered, which was during the first vote, which was the rule vote. These people, these 6 Democrats, are the rotating villains in the Democratic Party. It's Henry Cuellar, Don Davis, Jared Golden, Gonzalez, Gray, and Maria Perez. These individuals here, if they would have voted along with their party, because the majority of Democrats voted to not support this NDAA, if they would have voted along with their party, the bill also does not pass the House. So it's not just on the 6 Republicans. Oh, and imagine that.
Really,
6 and
everybody's
6.
doing
How
it together.
convenient. It's not just on the 6 Republicans, it's also on the 6 Democrats. And I really do feel like sometimes these two parties, they kind of bounce off of each other, in a way. So it's like, it's not really my fault. It's not really I voted this way. I voted blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point is, these 6 Democrats also could have stopped that bill from passing. Reminder again, Henry Cuellar was endorsed by Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, and Chuck Schumer. We warned everybody about him back then. Now, she posted another video Friday, and I want to go ahead and share this one too, where she gave a little bit more breakdown here.
Hey guys, I just want to follow up on a video that I put out explaining the NDAA vote that happened yesterday, explaining the 2 votes. Every time a bill passes the House floor, it has to cross 2 hurdles. The first vote is called the rule vote. The second vote is final passage vote. Now, that's super confusing and it's really stupid, but that's the way they do it. We had 7 total Republicans vote no on final passage to the NDAA because of Section 219 and other issues that they didn't like within the bill. We are thankful to them for voting no. However, that was a safe no vote, and let me explain that. There's 2 ways to vote no. There's the safe no vote, which is voting no on a bill when you know it's going to pass, so you don't have to make anybody mad, and you can still vote no because it's going to pass even without your vote. Then there's the courageous no vote, and that is voting no on the rule, the first vote for that bill to cross to final passage. When you vote no on the rule vote, you're voting no against everyone. You're voting no against leadership. You're voting no against the White House. You're taking a hard stand and saying, I am 100% against this bill. I do not want it to pass.
So that is the part I wanted you to hear that I thought was very important. You're voting against leadership, and that matters. So those 6 Republicans that voted with Massey the second time around, Trump's probably not going to come after their seat. Thursday, I figured, I was like, he's probably going to come after their seat. But now that I understand that was the first vote, you know, I stand here corrected. But apparently, they're not pissing off leadership by voting against that bill during the second vote, the safe vote. That's why we're saying it's the safe vote, because you're not pissing anybody off. That's what she's saying. Interesting.
There was only one Republican that took the courageous no vote on the rule vote. That was Thomas Massey. He voted no. The other Republicans only voted no on the second vote, the final passage vote, when they knew that the bill was going to pass. Okay?
Yep.
So there's a difference, and that's what you need to understand. There's the two votes. One is the rule vote. The second vote is final passage. And the most courageous vote any member of Congress can take is voting no on the rule. Here's the difference. The rule vote passed 213 to 212. 213 to 212. If those 6 other Republicans had voted no with Thomas Massey on the rule vote, the rule would have failed, and the NDAA could not have moved forward to the second final passage vote. However, they voted yes on the rule, allowing it to move forward, and Thomas was the only one that voted no. But when it came to final passage, 6 decided to vote no then, because it was safe. You want to know why? Because there were 6 Democrats that were voting yes. That's what you need to know. If you want to put your members of Congress into action, call them and start telling them to vote no on the rule. Don't let them make videos and wash their hands and say, I did everything I could. No, if they really want to stop something, vote no on the rule.
I'm glad she's calling this out, because I have seen some of them making the videos there on social media saying, well, I tried to stop it. And it's just disingenuous at this point. No, she's correct. If they really tried to stop it, they could have done so on that first initial vote, the rule vote. So I think we got a civics lesson here today, ladies and gents. We're all learning together, but share this with people, share this with your friends, share it with family, so that they understand how the voting process actually works in Congress and what is considered the courageous vote and what is not considered the courageous vote. Either way, we got a bunch of rotating villains. It could have happened either way. The 6 Democrats could have voted with the other Democratic Party members, and this wouldn't have passed. Or those 6 Republicans could have voted no on the rule vote, and this bill would have never even moved forward to the second vote. Ladies and gentlemen, civics lesson today. We are learning some things. So yeah, thank you for the individual who sent me these videos. So I just wanted to make sure that I updated you guys on that, so that you understand that it was only Thomas Massey who took the courageous vote. Hey guys, this was a savvy video. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
He's the only badass.
If anyone in this room found out what I was, I wouldn't make it out alive. Quinn Talon.
Quinn Talon.
Welcome to another episode of the Olive Roots podcast. I'm your host, Jose Yu. Oh, it's time to talk about this. Shots were fired, and kudos to Mamdani, the only one who said what he said, bluntly and straightforward. If Malkowski, Netanyahu, comes to New York, we will try pretty much to arrest him. So that's what I want to talk about today. And then I'm going to share some feedback from the Zionists as they're melting because of what was said. Now they're saying Mamdani should be arrested. The whole Zionist lobby is losing it. And make sure you grab a lot of popcorn for this one, because it's gonna be real good. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you have not, Check out the merch on the oliverootspodcast.com and feel free to contribute here, buy me a coffee, or Patreon. All right, so I'm gonna begin with the main video of Mamdani calling Malkowski a war criminal and an architect of a horrific genocide in Gaza and Palestine. Love him or hate him, that's not the point. The point is he had the cojones to say all that. So let's watch this together, guys. Here we go.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children, as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave Anyone with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
Wow.
Hey, lady. You tripping.
Very
Oh, that's a
well
guy.
said. Very well said.
Oh, it's this guy. I forgot who was.
No lies detected. Obviously, the numbers were very low. Israel probably unalived, have to use that term on YouTube, genocided more than 500,000 people in Gaza. So that was the message that ruffled a lot of feathers, right? They ruffled the feathers of a fat J, Randy Fine. And this is what Randy Fine had to say. You are a Muslim terrorist. Yeah. This fat J, who is actually a terrorist himself, has been freely talking about Muslims in a condescending and ugly way. But imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if it was the other way around. Oh my God, it'll be the end of it. Anti-Semitism! Yeah. So this is what Congressman Randy Fine, also known as the Fat JEW, said. Okay. Well, there is more that was said. Well, let's move on to the second video. And that's Danny Danon, the ambassador of Israel in the United Nations. And he said, if anyone should be arrested, it's you, Mamdani. So we're gonna watch this speech and see what this demon has to say. Okay, here we go. Remember, this is the one that looks like a vampire.
Mr. President, Nelson Mandela said that in a free society, there should be only one division.
This demon quoting Nelson Mandela. Talking about freedom.
Between those who cherish democracy and those who do not. Mayor Mamdani sent a representative to this podium today to invoke Mandela's legacy. But Mr. Mamdani has made his own choice clear. He does not stand with the democracies fighting terror.
He's not standing with Israel. Thank God. He's not standing with the Antichrist.
This is the same mayor whose commissioner tried to meet with Iran's representative to the UN, Mr. Ravani, last week, while America was fighting the very same evil regime. Thankfully, the State Department shut it down.
Shut it down. He sounds a little bit like Arnold.
This is the same mayor who mourned a Hamas sniper and called him an innocent civilian journalist.
Yeah, the more than 300 journalists were unalived and targeted by Israel. But this demon calls all of those Hamas, men and women. Fantastic.
The same mayor who continues to fuel anti-Semitism across New York.
Really? But I thought he went to Rebbe Schneerson's grave in New York. And he went to visit a lot of the tiny hat community in New York. So how can he be an anti-Semite? I don't know.
And now, the same mayor who threatens Israel's prime minister with arrest powers he does not have.
Does not have. Well, the people have the power. That's what it should be, the people. But right now we're occupied by the country that this demon represents. Remember, they're merging the militaries. Fantastic.
Mr. Mamdani, you have chosen the opposite of democracy.
These demons want to preach about democracy and freedom. Yeah, and peace. Don't forget peace. Shalom.
You have chosen collaboration with terror.
He's collaborating with terror. Now you hear the accent? Terror.
Well, Mr. Mamdani, I have news for you. Your threat has no legal basis.
Your what? Sweat? What was that? It's hard to understand what he said.
I have news for you. Your threat has no legal basis.
Oh, threat. It's just this accent is terrible.
We all know that the United States is not a member of the ICC. We have all read the UN headquarters agreement. Muammar Gaddafi, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Yasser Arafat, they all stood at this podium.
They were legends.
They were dictators and sponsors of terror.
No, they were legends and freedom fighters.
Benjamin Netanyahu is not.
Come to find out.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a demon. He's an antichrist, satanic butcher.
The elected prime minister of a democracy fighting terror.
Really?
Fighting terror.
Why is he fighting the Hasidic Orthodox Jays in Jerusalem and beating them up every day because they don't want to serve in the military? Why is he allowing settlers right now to attack villages in the West Bank? They're attacking and burning villages as I'm doing this. Qalqilia was attacked today by more than 150 Israeli terrorist settlers of the tiny hat community religion. That's democracy. Burning churches and mosques, unaliving men, women, and children. That's democracy. Fantastic. I guess I didn't know that's what democracy is.
No, you don't know.
Yet you, Mr. Mamdani, pretend he is the one who should be arrested for standing here. Your threat is empty.
You threat. Repeat after me, you J Antichrist threat. It's not threat. Such a Semitic accent, right?
It's a political theater designed to excite.
Messy hair? Brush it. Permed or dyed damage? Brush it. Static flyaways? Brush it. This 5-in-1 air cushion brush sprays mist, heats, massages the scalp, uses red light, and self-cleans. No salon card, no expensive stylist, just brush, smooth, and shine. If you still see the cart, grab it now.
3, 2, 1, go!
Messy hair, brush it. Permed or dyed
Okay,
damage,
my bad.
brush it. Static flyaways, brush.
Good day, this is Dimitri Lascaris and Rami Yahya coming to you for Reason to Resist on July 22nd, 2026. Today we are going to cover breaking news relating to the Epstein scandal, the Jeffrey Epstein horror show, about which we have heard so little during the criminal war of aggression on Iran. And of course, that may be one of the reasons why Donald Trump launched the war of aggression. But in any case, it almost seems like a distant memory, but at the beginning of the year, this was dominating the headlines, the scandal of Jeffrey Epstein, and rightly so, and then it disappeared in the background. But today that changed when we learned that a character about whom Reason to Resist did an investigative report has died in mysterious circumstances, and his name is Daniel Siad. We are going to get into this in some detail today, but before we do that, I just want to say hello to my comrade Rami, who is joining us from Georgia. How you doing, Rami?
I'm doing very good. I'm in Tbilisi, Georgia, of course. People get mixed up with the state sometimes.
And you have been out of Iran for 10 days or so, is that right?
Yes, maybe 2 weeks. Been out of Iran, taking some time off here in Georgia, Tbilisi, after 2-3 months of eventful travels in Iraq, Lebanon, south of Lebanon, and of course Iran for the funeral of our martyred leader Sayyid Ali Khamenei.
Now, before we get into this fast-breaking news, please remember to like and share this video if you find it to be informative. And if you're not a subscriber to Reason to Resist, please do become one. Help us to expand the reach of our unapologetic, on-the-ground resistance journalism. And if you're in a position to make donations, you can do that using the information we'll provide in the description to this video. It is your generosity which enables us to do the kind of investigative reporting that exposed Daniel Siad's role with Epstein and his potential connections to Israel and the Israeli intelligence community. So, Rami, and by the way, one way you can help is to purchase Reason to Resist merchandise. Again, look in the video description if you want to figure out how to do that. This is my Reason to Resist hoodie. We have a number of those available. But anyway, you can assist, and even if it's only by liking and sharing our videos and subscribing, which doesn't cost you a dime, we appreciate your support. So, Rami, before we discuss the mysterious circumstances of this character's death, and such as